The North Wind and the Sun. Aesop's Fables in Rhyme. One day in late spring, with the sun shining strong, she announced to the North Wind, "You do not belong. It's time you must leave, so things can get hot." But the North Wind simply had a simple reply, "Oh no, I will not." Well, let me see if I can change the layout, maybe? Nope. There we go. Does that work? Nope. Just a second. There we go. All right. The North Wind sat high on his wind machine and asked the sun, "Who made you the queen?" She replied, "This is just the natural way. So off you and leave, for you cannot stay." But the North Wind said, "You think you're so great, but you're not allowed to choose my fate. Since you say now that I can't stay longer, let's have a contest to see who's stronger." He leapt aboard, turning on the fan. "Watch me now as I do all I can. You may be bright, you may be old, but I'm the one who brings the cold." All the trees all trembled in his breeze as waves grew higher on the seas. "See," said the North Wind, asked the sun, "and I'll do more before the day's done." The sun had not yet said a word, and then she chuckled, "How absurd! You may have power, may have might, but there is strength in bringing light." "Never," he cried. "I cannot lose. So here's a bet I hope you'll choose. Whoever makes the man undress will be the winner, nothing less." The sun first laughed, then she agreed. But which of them would now succeed? Which one would have the better chance to make the man remove his pants? The North Wind said, "It's my turn first, as foul weather soon will burst." Keeping that small man in sight, he began to blow with all his might. The man was very much amazed. He began to shiver, feeling dazed. His day had gone from fine to bad, never guessing the bet they'd had. The North Wind blew with all his force, a breeze that could blow down a horse. The man tugged at his too light shirt to guard himself from the blowing dirt. But that North Wind felt such rage, for this was war he'd come to wage. He'd thought that he would blow his best, but then the man pulled out a vest. And so the wind blew harder still. "I have to win! I will! I will! I'll make him take his clothing off." But he put on a scarf so he wouldn't cough. The man whipped up the wind whipped in fury, showing his might. But the man found a jacket hidden from sight. The wind blew harder, even more, but found he couldn't settle the score. The North Wind sat on a cloud then to rest. "Oh," said the sun, "so you think you're the best? Well, it's my turn to show my power. This shouldn't take longer than an hour." The sun set sail toward the man who shivered since their game began. She spread her lovely gentle heat, her golden rays whose touch was sweet. The man smiled, warm at last, happy that the storm had passed, pulled off the vest like in a dream. "Perhaps I'll buy some ice cream." The sun kept smiling, shining down, her yellow rays spread like a crown. With hours to go before she'd set, the man had just begun to sweat. It really wasn't hard at all, so that north wind was sure to fall. With love and joy she warmed the land, till the man took his coat off with one hand. The sun was glowing, now much more. Much warmer than it was before. Maybe he'd go to the sea from this spot. So he undid his shirt, for he felt much too hot. He walked so far until he reached the sand. What weather we're having in this land! What a strange day, but now he could swim. So he pulled off his clothes, leaving only him. "You won," said the wind to the sun in shame, saddened to see that he'd lost the game. The sun was gracious and shook his hand, knowing the north wind would now understand. The north wind drove off on his wind machine, thought about how things might have been. He'd started so full of anger and pride, but lost to the sun with her warmth inside. For strength isn't always the best way to win. Sometimes we must use the joy that's within. By sharing a sweet and loving fire, we can earn our heart's desire. The end. Pirates don't go to kindergarten. On the first day of kindergarten, Emma raided her sea chest. Treasure map, check. Spyglass, check. Cutlass, check. She was ready to set sail. If only Captain Chew, the roughest, toughest, awesomest preschool pirate captain ever, could see her now. After a stormy crossing, Emma finally dropped anchor at school. She scanned her treasure map. Kindergarten, ho! But instead of boarding the kindergarten ship, she sailed into preschool. Ahoy, Captain Chew! Emma hollered. Ahoy, good to see you, Emma, said Miss Chew, but the kindergarten classroom's down the hall. Emma peered through her spyglass. Wrong classroom, wrong cubbies, wrong toys. Worst of all, wrong captain. Pirates don't go to kindergarten, Emma said. Ocean's rough today, said Captain Chew. Batten down the hatches, mateys. I'm rowing this sailor to her new ship. Emma, meet Captain Hayes. She's in charge of this spaceship. Welcome. You're just in time for liftoff, said Miss Hayes. Emma leaped onto the gangway and stared through the hatch. Stars? Planets? Rocket ships? It wasn't the high seas, but maybe with a few changes here or there, it could work. But a new captain? No. Arg, Emma growled. You'll never take me alive. Splash! Emma swam back to Captain Chew's ship. Thump, clump. She stomped her peg leg. Scrunch, splat. She dug for doubloons and scattered sand. Yo ho ho, she sang at the top of her lungs. Pirate Emma, you know the rules, said Miss Chew said. No throwing sand, and use your indoor voice, please. Pirates don't follow the rules. A kindergartner poked her head through the porthole. Miss Hayes needs a hand feeding the guinea pig. Can Emma come? Hi, Daniela, said Miss Chew. Emma, they need your help on the other ship. A guinea pig in need? Aye, aye, Captain. Back at the kindergarten spaceship, Daniela gave Emma a tour. She introduced Emma to lots of busy astronauts before taking her to see some special cargo. Say hello to our guinea pig, Betty. Blimey, she's a pirate pig. I'm going to call her Beastly Betty. After she snuggled and fed the pirate pig, Emma inspected the kindergarten spaceship. There was a nature center, but no Captain Chew to look at seeds with. An art studio, but no Captain Chew to show her paintings to. A reading nook, but no Captain Chew to read books to her. There were some astronauts doing experiments at a science station, but still no Captain Chew. Pirates don't feed pigs. Splash! Emma swam back to Captain Chew's ship. Emma mustered some mates and seized control of the preschool ship. Mutiny! The pirate band sneered and snarled, whooped and hollered, raced up the rigging, and climbed to the crow's nest. Then, one by one, they fell asleep. Hey, pirates don't take naps. I've come to parley, said Miss Chew. How do I get my ship back? Come with me to kindergarten. But I have to lead this new band of pirates. Then walk the plank. Emma brandished her cutlass. Tie her up, mates. It's time to join your new mates, Miss Chew said. Kindergarten looks like fun, Emma whispered, but I won't sail with a new captain. Shiver me timbers, peg-leg Emma. Captain Hayes is the finest captain in the universe. Emma slid closer. But she's not you. I'll miss you too, Miss Chew hugged Emma. Can pirates visit their old captain and borrow her bandana? Of course. Miss Hayes rode into the room. We're short one crew member for our spaceship. Can you spare someone brave and strong? Like Emma. Heave ho, shark bait. The astronauts and beastly Betty need me. Emma swam away from Captain Chew's ship. Splash. Open the shuttle hatch. Pirates do go to kindergarten. Space Pirate Emma reporting for duty. The end. Beware of Doug. From Up. Deep in a South American jungle, a dog named Doug was sniffing at the ground. He was on a mission to find a mysterious bird. Suddenly, he came upon an old man and a boy tugging a house. The boy and the old man were surprised to meet Doug. Sit, said the boy, whose name was Russell. Doug sat. Shake, Russell said. Doug held out his paw. Speak, Russell commanded. Hi there, said Doug. Russell and the old man, whose name was Carl, were shocked. They had never heard of a talking dog before. Doug showed Carl and Russell his high-tech collar. It allowed him to speak in any language. There was a camera, a language dial, a light, and a speaker. Suddenly, a giant bird leaped out of the bushes and tackled Doug. Hey, that is the bird, Doug said excitedly. May I take your bird as my prisoner? He asked Carl. Be my guest, Carl said. But the bird did not want to be captured. It followed Carl and Russell. So, Doug followed them too. In another part of the jungle, 3 other dogs, named Alpha, Beta, and Gamma, were also hunting for the bird. This doesn't work if you haven't seen the movie. Soon enough, the bird will be ours, Alpha told the other dogs. I wonder if Doug has found the bird on his very special mission, Gamma laughed. Doug couldn't do anything right, so Alpha had sent him out alone. Come in, Doug, Alpha said, using Beta's collar to contact Doug. Have you seen the bird? Why, yes, replied Doug. I am here with the bird. Impossible, exclaimed Alpha when he saw the bird on the video screen. Barking fiercely, the 3 dogs set out to find Doug and the bird. Meanwhile, Doug was having a great time with his new friends. I love that man, like he is my master, he said, looking up at Carl. But Carl didn't want to be Doug's master. He just wanted to get to Paradise Falls. I'm nobody's master, get it? He said to Doug, but Doug wasn't listening. He was more interested in playing fetch with the tennis balls on Carl's cane. Doug stayed with his new friends that night. He planned to take the bird to his pack the next day. But he didn't get a chance. The next morning, the bird left. Just then, Alpha, Gamma, and Beta burst out of the bushes. They surrounded Doug, Carl, and Russell. Where's the bird? Alpha asked Doug. You said you had the bird. Doug had to tell Alpha that the bird had escaped. You lost it? Alpha snarled. Why do I not have a surprised feeling? Alpha decided to take Carl and Russell to his master, Charles Muntz. Muntz had spent many years living in a cave. Pleased to have visitors, he invited Carl and Russell inside. Meanwhile, the dog pack was deciding what to do with Doug. He has lost the bird, said Alpha. Put him in the cone of shame. I do not like the cone of shame, Doug said, hanging his head sadly. Then, the dogs returned to their master. Muntz had asked Carl and Russell to dinner. The dogs served the guests food, while Muntz told them why he was there. He'd spent a lifetime searching for the monster of Paradise Falls. As Muntz described the creature, Carl realized that he was after the bird. Just then, Carl spotted the bird, standing on the roof of his floating house. Muntz saw the bird too. He thought Carl was trying to steal it from him. Get them, he ordered the dogs. Carl, Russell, and the bird ran for their lives. The dogs chased after them, barking angrily. Get back, Carl shouted at the dogs. There was no stopping the pack. Suddenly, an avalanche of boulders tumbled down in front of Alpha and the dog pack, blocking their path. Go on, master, someone shouted. I will stop the dogs. It was Doug. He had caused the avalanche to save Carl and Russell. Doug knew that his old master would be angry, but he didn't care. He had new friends, and their adventures were just beginning. Best of all, now those other dogs knew to beware of Doug. The end. A very good dream. Once upon a time, in a modern land, lived a boy whose life was really quite grand. He had more toys than the local toy shop, and a house with his very own room on top. Brandon, our hero, he was a good kid who took out the trash and closed every lid. He usually did everything his parents said, but didn't let these luxuries get to his head. But there was more to this story than it might seem, for each night, Brandon had an incredible dream. When Brandon snuggled tight with his teddy bear Barry, he fell asleep faster than you can say fairy. But this was no accident, for Barry was magical and took Brandon to locations that were most fantastical. There we go. One night, they went to a huge ice cream shop where they had flavors like green soda pop. Barry made him a cone stacked high with each taste, and Brandon ate them all with nothing and left nothing to waste. The first scoop was like pizza. The second was like rain. The third scoop was like peanuts from an airplane. The fourth scoop like honey. The fifth like a flower. The sixth was equally both sweet and sour. When Brandon had tried every flavor they had, it was time to go, which made him quite sad. "Don't worry, my friend," said Barry with a smile. "Your next adventure will be even more worth your while." The next night, they went to a place with rides, a carnival filled with fun and slides. Barry helped Brandon win toys from each game and put even the best contenders to shame. They rode all the rides and bought cotton candy, and Brandon was feeling so very dandy. "It's time to go," said Barry with a grin. "But tomorrow you'll see all from Maine to a fin." The next night they went to a magnificent zoo filled with lions and fish and monkeys too. But Brandon soon noticed a very large error that, for a moment, filled him with terror. These elegant beasts were all in the wrong hue. The lion was light pink, and the rhino bright blue. To each creature, Brandon said a shy hello, and even had a chat with a green dolphin fellow. "Why are they different?" asked Brandon with worry. Said Barry, "Because they are part of your mind's little story. These things you dream while I am here are meant to fill you with good cheer, and flavors and fun and bright-colored creatures will give you a break from your chores and mean teachers." Brandon waved goodbye as he started to wake. It was time to get up. It was nearly daybreak. Brandon ate breakfast and went to school with a smile, as he thought of his new friends all the while. He told his friend Joey about his great fun, who in turn said he had also had some. "I dreamed of a store filled with nothing but lizards, and then I pet puppies and met 2 smart wizards." The point, little one, is that your imagination can transport you to a whole new location. So snuggle in, sleep tight, and don't let the bed bugs bite. Here's to you having a very good dream tonight. The end. Duck and Hippo in the rainstorm. Duck knocked on Hippo's door. Knock, knock, knock. "Hi, Duck," said Hippo. Duck twirled her umbrella. "It's spring, spring," she said. Do you want to walk in the rain? It'll be so fun." Said Hippo. He was worried about the weather. "If you'll share your umbrella." "Of course," said Duck. So Hippo pulled on his big rubber boots and went for a walk in the rain. But there was no room for Hippo. He tried to walk in front of Duck. That didn't work. He tried to walk behind Duck, but that didn't work. Then Duck stood on Hippo's feet, and Hippo held the umbrella. And that worked just fine. Oh no, turn the page. Oops, too far. They puddle jumped together. Splosh, splosh, splosh. They plopped through the mud together. Slop, slop, slop. And they dropped a stick off of a bridge and watched it rush down the creek. Swoosh. Duck said, "Want to sail down the creek? It'll be like riding a roller coaster." Said Hippo. It looked like the storm was getting worse. If you'll share your umbrella. Of course, said Duck. So Hippo put the umbrella in the creek and helped his little friend sit down. But there was no room for Hippo. Hippo tried sitting in the front, but that didn't work. Hippo tried sitting in the back, but that didn't work either. Then Duck sat on Hippo's lap, and that worked just fine. They swirled around the boulders together. Whee! They whirled around a crocodile together. Oh dear. Eek! Finally, they twirled into a pond and began to sink. Blub, blub, blub. Hippo totally disappeared. Duck looked all around for her best friend. Hippo, Hippo, where are you? Here I am, silly Duck, sputtered Hippo, bursting up for air. Duck was sitting on Hippo's head. Hippo sloshed up out of the pond and stood dripping on the bank as the rain crashed down. Ah, spring. Don't you love it? Said Duck. Do you want to walk home in the rain? Hippo just stood there, soaking wet. If you'll share your umbrella? Said Hippo. Of course, said Duck. And this time, Duck sat on Hippo's shoulder. She held the umbrella, and that worked just fine. But before they could get going, a terrible wind came roaring and whoosh, the umbrella flew up, up, up. It sailed high over the trees, and Duck was still hanging on. Help! Cried Duck. Is that what you sound like? I'm coming! Yelled Hippo. Hippo raced after Duck just as fast as his hippo legs could carry him. Until... Whoops! Pardon me! Hippo almost tripped over a woodchuck, but he caught his balance just in time and kept on running. And the small but nimble Duck just missed hitting a tall, tall treetop. Yeeks! Then down, down, down spun her umbrella like a falling leaf. And Duck landed on Hippo's shoulders, right in front of Hippo's house. Thanks, Hippo, cried Duck. That was so fun. You're welcome, said Hippo. Will you join me for a warm cup of tea? Hippo asked. Of course, said Duck. She closed her umbrella, and then they both went in the door at the same time. Whoops, cried Hippo. Then he squeezed back out again and said, After you, dear Duck. And that worked just fine. Clink. The end. Peep, leap. In the hollow of a tree, higher than the eye can see, 9 wood ducks hatch, one by one. That's good, says Mama. We're almost done. One last egg is very still. The wood ducks turn and squirm until wobble, quake, wiggle, shake, crack. The smallest eggshell breaks. The sun is up. It's time to go. Mama glides down to the ground below, into the pond, far and deep. 10 baby ducks cry, peep, peep, peep. The newborn ducks all have to leap, even though the fall is steep. Duckling 1 says, jumping's fun. Mama says, good job. Well done. Then Duckling 2 jumps 2. Woof. Duckling 3 cries, "Wait for me!" Whee! "Here's one more," calls Duckling 4. Duckling 5 does a 5-star dive. Duckling 6 tries some tricky kicks. 7 and 8 call, "We can't wait!" 9's next to last, but he's fast. Into the water, one by one. "Good," says Mama. "We're almost done." But Duckling 10 is quiet and still. The wood ducks float and drift until Mama Duck says, "Drop to the ground. You can do it, safe and sound." Quiver, quake, shiver, shake, peep. The smallest duck is scared to leap. One duck in a broken shell isn't feeling very well. "You are braver than you know," says Mama Duck. "Get set, go!" The deep pond shines in the sun. Swimming looks like so much fun. Is it time to leave the nest? Can he jump and join the rest? Maybe if he counts to 3. 1, 2, 3. He's still in the tree. "I'm stuck," cries the baby duck. Mama Duck says, "Try again. Count down from 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Leap. Flip, flap, flap, flip, flop, plip, plop. Safe stop. 1 through 9 rush to his side. All 10 ducklings dip and glide up and down, round and round in their new pond home. The end. Dragon's Boo Boo. Once upon a time, there was a small, happy land called the Kingdom of Storybook. It was ruled by good King Frederick and his knights of the square table. Most days, everything inside the castle was peaceful. The jester juggled, the ladies fixed their hair, the knights jousted. Jack, the kitchen boy, got scolded by the cranky old cook. There we go. Is that better? And people went about life as usual. Yeah, is that better? But then, everything changed. "A dragon!" the watchtower guard cried. "I saw it with my own eyes." And then, before anyone could tell him there hadn't been a dragon in Storybook for years, they heard a terrible sound. Roar! It shook the stones in the courtyard, knocked off the jester's hat, shattered the ladies' mirrors, terrified everyone. They ran up to the castle wall to look, and even good King Frederick himself. "It's coming from that cave," said one of the knights, pointing. There was a deep, scary cave right next to the castle. At one point, the knights had suggested boarding it up, but King Frederick thought he might use it someday to build a secret tunnel of some kind, so it had stayed. The creature in the cave let out another horrible roar. "Someone must chase it away," cried King Frederick, turning to his loyal knights. "My wife doesn't want me to," said Sir Fluke. "I don't have time today," said Sir Lorelost. "I sprained my wrist last week," said Sir Doubled Out. "And I've already killed a dragon," said Sir Weatherby. He frowned and then added, "Well, a lizard, anyway." As the day went on, the roaring never stopped, and every time the people inside the castle would look toward the cave and tremble in fear. Soon the rumors started. I heard the dragon is long and slimy, like a snake, said one of the ladies. Someone told me it has huge fangs, said the jester. And I read that dragons are mostly very nice, said Jack the kitchen boy. Everyone stared at the boy, then burst out laughing. Shows what you know, said the watchtower guard, patting Jack on the head. That's quite a joke, the jester said. Mind if I use it? Silly boy, said the cranky cook. Now get back to work. So Jack kept peeling potatoes for the king's banquet. Sometimes he read a book while he peeled them, mostly about adventures and dragons and magic spells. And he had told the truth. In most stories, the dragons were quite friendly. Roar! This time, the noise shook some pots and pans off of the kitchen shelf. Something must be wrong, said Jack, setting down his potato. If no one else will go, I'll go find out for myself. He took 4 cookies, 2 for himself and 2 for the dragon. The main gate was locked, so Jack had to find a rope. He tied it to the tower wall. Then, slowly, he inched his way down. Another loud roar almost made him lose his grip, but he held on tightly. The cave was dark and full of drippy rocks, like a good, deep, scary cave should be. At the entrance, Jack walked right into something sticky and net-like. Oh, a spider web, he said, wiping it away. And a big one, too. I wonder where the spider is. And then he saw it crawling on the wall, right towards him, the size of a dinner plate. That's a big spider. Hello, said Jack to it, gulping, but trying not to sound scared. I'm sorry I ruined your web. The spider, used to scaring people, was disappointed that Jack didn't scream and run. It crossed 2 of its hairy arms. It was a very nice, strong web, Jack said, remembering from his book that it's always good to be polite to animals. The spider, pleased at the compliment, let him pass. He kept walking toward a dim orange light, down a long, windy passageway. Roar! This sound knocked a rock from the cave ceiling, and Jack might have been hit if he hadn't jumped away. Now he started to be a little scared. What if the dragon isn't friendly, he wondered. Before Jack could think of a plan, he stopped still. The cavern he was about to enter was full of bats, darting here and there. He wouldn't be able to cross without getting hit by one. Thankfully, there were bats in the stories he had read as well. Most of them calmed down if you sang to them. So Jack made up a little tune in his head and began to sing. I must get to the dragon's lair and see the thing that's hiding there. I'm sorry, but I cannot stay. I'm going on a quest today. And as he sang, the bats hovered near the ceiling, and Jack passed through. Toasty, toasty. Yeah. He kept moving toward the light until he peeked into the large chamber of the cave. And there was the dragon. Now, Jack knew where the orange light was coming from. It was fire, straight out of the dragon's mouth. Then, the dragon turned his head and looked right at Jack. Before Jack could run, or even shout, a single tear ran down the dragon's scaly face. I was right after all, Jack said. You're not mean, are you? The dragon shook his head and showed Jack his left claw. It was pierced with a large splinter of wood. Oh, Jack said. That's why you've been roaring so much. He knelt down by the dragon's foot. This might sting a little, he said, repeating something his mother had told him many times. Then he yanked on the splinter. Roar! This roar was the loudest of them all. Jack thought about how to distract the dragon. He gave him a cookie and then smiled. I know, I'll tell you a story. Once upon a time, there was a small, happy land called called the Kingdom of Storybook. And as he told the story of how everyone was afraid of the dragon, he slowly pulled on the splinter. Soon, it was completely free. Come on, Jack said. No one should be stuck in a deep, scary cave like this. They walked past the bats, which hid in fear. Then they walked through the winding tunnels. And finally, at the entrance of the cave, the dragon blasted fire at the spider's web so they could get out. Sorry, Jack called back to the spider. But when he looked up at the castle wall, he saw a terrifying sight. The knights had their bows and arrows. The jester had the knives he juggled. The ladies had their broken mirrors. And the cranky old cook had a pot of boiling potato soup. Attack the dragon! The watchtower guard yelled. Wait, Jack cried, stepping out from behind the dragon. Stop! And everyone did. He's a friendly dragon, Jack explained. Really? And the dragon nodded. Since Jack hadn't been eaten, the people of the court had to believe him. To prove his goodwill, the dragon snatched the last cookie from Jack's hand and then flew up and gave it to King Frederick. Hooray! King Frederick said, taking it. Sir Jack the Brave has saved us all. And everyone cheered. Well, what are you going to do with the dragon now? The cranky old cook asked. Jack smiled. I have an idea. Should we sit you up? Is that better? So, from that day on, the dragon helped Jack in the kitchen, keeping the fire going. One blast from the dragon's mouth, and King Frederick's turkeys were roasted and ready. Jack stayed by his new friend's side, peeling potatoes, and telling lots and lots of stories. The end. Pete the Pudding Pufferfish. I know, I'm weird. And kinda gnarly. Even though I'm very pooty. Pete the Pudding Pufferfish. It's my nickname. If someone stunk up a room, I'm always the one to blame. I'll admit, my talent is totally pudding. I'm not a great bowler, and you don't want me singing. Did you know today's my birthday, and I have only one wish, if I may. To have a true friend through and through, one that stands by you, no matter what you do. The problem is, no one likes the gas that I put out. But farting is natural. There is no doubt. It's true. Everyone experiences gas. I can't be the only one. I feel so good when I'm done. I admit sometimes I can stink it up. I wouldn't mind smelling like a peanut butter cup. Maybe what I should do is hold in the gas, but I'd probably blow up into a balloon. Oh, so fast. This can't be the solution. This can't be the way. I must find another answer. Wouldn't you say? I think what I'll do is search the ocean. I gotta dig deep to find my motivation. Not gonna lie, I think they're supposed to be rhyming, and they're not. Not even close. All I have to do is follow the smells. Look, what's down there, near the seashells? Why, would you like to be friends, oh dear crab? Ouch! Please don't hurt me. Please don't stab. I swim over to the dolphins, but they won't talk to me. I ask the octopus if he'll play, but he says, leave me now. Let me be. I won't give up. I must stay the course. Will you be my friend, please, seahorse? Instead, he kicks me into the dark waters nearby. I say hello to the blue whale as I fly. The turtles are bathing in the sun. The turtles are bathing in the sun. They lay on me, and I can't run. Should I pay a visit to the great white shark? That's probably not a good idea, since it's dark. Past the school of fish I swim, until I reach where light is dim. Here is where the jellyfish live, but friendships are not what they'd want to give. I can't believe in this whole wide sea, I can't find one pudding fish like me. Hi. What's up? Is that better? I'm out of luck. I give up hope. I hadn't one friend, and all I do is mope. Wait, what's this? A birthday party invitation? Today? What's the party for? It doesn't say. The location is near the coral reef, where the seaweed is furry. I bet I can still make it, if I hurry. I swim until I see the red flashing lights. There's cake galore and brownie bites. I might get kicked out, so I pray. But then, to my surprise, everyone sings me happy birthday. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. I'm so lucky, I'm so grateful. I can poot, I'm not fearful. That doesn't rhyme. I do have true friends. They can accept me for who I am, because everyone can be a gem. The end. Thank you all so much for coming. We totally appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming. And we'll see you next week.